Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're watching the video of the cat leap from the 5th floor window and walk away like a boss, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
I was supposed to catch that cat, wasn't I?
Yeah. Oops. I wasn't there either.
Yeah. Well,
but somebody didn't catch it. They decided to videotape it.
Well, of course, yeah.
That's worse, right?
That's way more fun.
Okay.
Forget about the cat. Let's bring in our midnight marmoset. Some say he is asking for cow tipping to be an Olympic event. And others say his face was found in a rock formation on Mars. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Well, hello. Good to be here, and good to invite Stephen Hoy back to the podcast. Stephen, nice to have you here.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here.
Welcome back.
Good to have you here, and we are tonight going to be talking about, wait for it, destination hikes. See, that's what the black screen was all about. All right, dramatic reveal. Likes. All right, you've got a brand new book out. We're super excited to talk to you about it. You're probably really sick of talking about the book by now.
Not yet, actually.
No? Okay. So after tonight, no more.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. Good to have you back on the show, Stephen. We're really excited to hear all kinds of things about the book. But before we do that, hey, you know what this is time for? Shark time. Quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a special thanks to Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Hey, Landsharks has just restocked the spiral-bound British Columbia Backroad Map Book. I didn't realize that was a tongue twister until I started saying it. All right. And it is a great companion to Stephen's new book. So check that out. If you want to know more about supporting this show, well, just go and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Yes. And folks, if you want to add to tonight's show, maybe you want to ask Stephen a question, use the hashtag hikes right there in the chat. And our on time, working hard chat lackey will be there to help you. Well, to help us, help you. To help us, help you, help him. I don't know how it works. It's magic. And that's how it works. And of course, you can always use hashtag FATAS, and we're done with the land sharks. And you can always use hashtag FATAS to bring up something for the after show.
I am a little offended that you said we're done with the land sharks.
I know. I think the land sharks might be offended by that too. Just for that, I'm going to put the sharks right back up on my screen.
There you go. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, you know.
Opinions expressed by Chris may not be those of the podcast.
Love the land sharks. I was done with the graphic behind me. And that's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we got a shout out on last week's show on YouTube. That was that
was a show last week.
Route 66 Adventure Labs. I know I was there, but that doesn't mean I could say it when I wanted it to come out. This one comes from Bell on the Move. He says, "Thanks for a shout out on my gadget catches GSM times 2. This is tough for me right now. Great show and great dance moves."
There you go.
You got me all flustered. I'm done for a while.
Right. So while Chris takes the rest of the evening off, Jim, did you want to take over?
No, I don't want to take over, but I could tell you about a national treasure discovered by a couple of Altoona residents.
Ooh, isn't that fun to say?
Altoona is northwest of somewhere. And they stumbled across a scavenger hunt prize worth $10,000 without even meaning to. You never know what you're going to find when you're geocaching. Seems siblings Ethan and Paige Schoen had gone to Arkansas, as Altoona residents are wont to do, to get away. This was back in January. They needed a break. So they went to Arkansas. Seems reasonable enough.
As one does.
Yeah. On the last day of their trip, as a way to enjoy the sunshine and warm weather of the South, because January in Altoona, not known for warmth, They went to some popular geocaching hotspots. They went to Tanyard Creek Nature Trail in Bella Vista, Arkansas, and searched for a letterbox. Sounds like fun. And they spotted, some are calling it a national treasure. He said, we were looking in that general vicinity. We found all the clues. It made sense. And they found an item tucked in a rock crevice covered by some leaves. It was a box, like a little Tupperware box, almost, with a blue lid. And there was a medallion in it. Now, the medallion was part of a National Treasure Quest's National Treasure Hunt, and that hunt has captured the attention of hundreds of thousands of active cachers. And he said they didn't really know what it was. They thought about just leaving it because they weren't sure it was the letterbox, but they took it because it seemed like a nice prize. And they were driving back through Missouri, and they did a little research. You Google a medallion, you find. I would. Mm-hmm. They realized what they had found was worth $10,000.
Oh.
They also realized that to be part of this treasure hunt that this was a prize for, you were supposed to register before you searched and then, of course, found it. And they made the tough decision, to be honest, and give the medallion back. Forgo the reward, give another lucky winner a chance to do. And, well, National Treasure Quest was touched by their honesty, offered to pay them a generous $3,500 for them to come out and shoot a promotional video. People here know a little bit about shooting promotional videos, recreated their day and all that. Apparently, this has happened before. Ethan has also found unique treasures like, an iconic Doctor Who-inspired cache in Milwaukee, a small box chained at the bottom of the Black River. I just love going out and exploring, and he says, I'm not scared of taking a random trip, obviously. Enjoy seeing things you probably otherwise wouldn't see, like geocaches or $10,000 value medallions in a national treasure hunt contest.
How cool is that, right? They found it, they were honest,
yeah,
and they still got a nice prize.
That is a great story.
That is cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very neat. So, yeah, that's National Treasure Quest. I never heard of that before. So it's obviously some sort of...
I don't think Nicolas Cage is involved.
I was kind of looking for those, National Treasure angles on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those movies. Yeah.
Ben Franklin.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Benjamin Franklin Gates.
There you go.
Yeah, someone's got to go to prison, Ben.
Yeah. And I'm really hoping it's not me.
Yeah. Okay. All right, who wants to go down the creepy tunnel inside the tomb first? Forget that. Let's toss to Stephen, because he's been very patiently waiting while we talk about treasure quests and medallions and Altoona and Arkansas. Not the same thing, even though they both start with A. So, Stephen, thank you for being so patient while we ramble aimlessly. And welcome back to the podcast. We're really excited to have you here. We're excited about this new book. And, well, tell us all about it.
Well, now I want to go on a treasure chest hunt, So
well, yeah.
That could be a new book.
There you go. There's the next new book idea.
We've just given you a new idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the new book is Destination Hikes. It's in and around southwestern British Columbia, swimming holes, mountain peaks, waterfalls, and more. Published by Greystone Books, and it's available at bookstores everywhere, local bookstores, bookstore named after a river in Brazil, and all sorts of other websites. And you can find direct links on 105hikes.com.
Very good. I love the bookstore named after a river in Brazil. That's very subtle, Stephen. Nicely done. Nicely played. All right. So the what I think is most obvious question that I would like to know, and particularly since, as you say, you've written and published the 105 hikes previously, what sets this book apart from other hiking books that either you or other folks have written?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing is that this is, if you take the 105 hikes books, this is kind of if you own it already, it's kind of an expansion pack, or it's been called a sequel. It's a standalone guide, but it has 55 new hikes. So if you got the other book, it it's not duplicating it. But what I like about this book is it's got 55 hikes. So I was able to do 4 pages per hike rather than 2. So it's much more in depth. There's more detail. The directions are better. I was able to put in more like cultural and historical and nature context. And there's just a lot more photos. I think it's a better book for it. So, yeah, it's just and it's it's 3 years younger than 105 hikes, so it is more up to date.
There you go.
Nice. Now, with 55 hikes, you've covered a lot of area in this book,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there's some you wanted to include, maybe that didn't make it, some that you thought, well, this isn't up to snuff. How do you decide which hikes are going to make it into the book?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I want to cover uh, kind of a wide range, kind of within weekend distance of Vancouver. So you got hikes, in northern Washington. You've got hikes up to Whistler and over to Manning Park, a little bit in Nanaimo and the Gulf Islands. And so it's a matter of kind of having hikes from each region. Looking for a variety. I like to have a variety of hikes, and also with this book being called Destination Hikes, really focusing on highlighting scenic destinations like old growth groves, waterfalls, swimming holes, mountain peaks, and places with like outstanding historical or geological interest. So those are kind of the destinations referred to in the title. It's not necessarily that it's at the end of the hike. It's that those are those scenic and important, intriguing destinations that you might go to on a hike. And then each hike also has a stop of interest, which is something cool along the way on the drive there or nearby, like a historical site or museum or a waterfall that, makes it kind of like the hike, the destination of the day trip.
Very cool. There's a question that came up already in the chat that I think it's perfect timing given that you were talking about where some of the hikes are. And Iham was wondering, is there a chapter on how to sneak over the border so we can actually do these hikes? Now, he's assuming all the hikes are in BC, but they're not.
Well, I mean, some of them are actually in Washington. There's ones over by Bellingham, Mount Baker Wilderness, and then some along the North Cascades Highway. Yeah, there you go. And but yeah, I mean, us here in BC, we can't wait to go down and hike those Washington hikes. So I mean, if you guys want to trade with us when we're allowed to go, that's fine. And it's one of the hikes is interesting in the book. It's Hosamine Lake, and that's over. It's in Washington, but the only access by car is from BC, or you have to drive down a dirt road, and then there's an unguarded checkpoint. Kind of, there's no checkpoint even. You just cross the border into the U.S. there into Ross Lake National Recreation Area, and it's a really strange place because you're in Washington in the U.S. but everyone there is from BC because you have to drive way far to get there from Washington.
Wow. Such creative locations. I can't wait to hear all about them. And you said you had 4 pages of information per hike instead of 2 this time. What kind of information do you provide about how do you fill 4 pages about each hike?
Well, actually it's pretty easy because one, we put in more photos. That fills more room.
Love photos.
But also for the other book, it's really for 105 hikes, it's about like condensing. How can I tell the directions and the other information that I want in that small space. Whereas this one I could just pretty much write, how I naturally would write it out. So there's more detailed directions. The driving directions are more detailed as well, which people like. And there's just I was able to get into the stuff that really interests me too, like talk a little bit about the colonial or indigenous history of the area, indigenous place names, what fungi or flowers you're going to see, and that kind of thing. So that's what's really interesting to me about writing the guidebooks, and it makes the hikes way more interesting as well. So I was happy to be able to get more of that in there.
Nice. Now, we've got some questions from the chat. They're very active, as you remember from last time. We start with Keats94. He says, out of all the hikes featured in the book, which one would you most recommend? He says, tough question, I know.
Oh, I know this one. It's the hike to the bookstore to buy the book.
Oh, that's excellent. Yes, yeah, hike to your local independent bookstore, yes. You can hike to more than one, too, if you want to.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Feel free to camp outside, too. But so one of the most amazing hikes in the book is definitely Hidden Lake Lookout over near Marble Mount and the Cascade River, and that one is just it's stunning. I mean, it's just it's probably the most beautiful hike I did for the book, and goes up to an old fire lookout. And when you're looking at the mountain this fire lookout's on, it looks like something out of Lord of the Rings too when you're approaching it. Just this tall, skinny kind of mountain with the pointy top, and you can imagine like a big flame on top of it or something. But yeah, just beautiful. Wildflowers, amazing mountain views, just stunning.
Nice. Okay, Keats has another question. He'll probably have a bunch tonight. I'm just going to warn you ahead of
That's
time.
how he is. Yeah.
It is. He's a very inquisitive mind. He wants to know, when did you start hiking these hikes, these trails, to start researching?
So this would have been in 2018, I would think. No, 2019.
Back in the before times.
Yeah, it was in the before, definitely in the before times. But basically, it would have started basically 3 years ago. Exactly 3 years ago is when I first started hiking, because that's when we decided I would do this book, and the other book was already out. So that must have been 2019, actually.
Okay.
There you go.
Nice. Well, now since you have 4 pages to spread out on to talk more about the hikes, do you put in the capabilities or the abilities of the people hiking these trails? I mean, is it for everyone at all? Does it work for kids?
Yeah, so each hike comes with a difficulty rating and a quality rating. So the difficulty rating, it's like easy, moderate, difficult, and advanced. So we use ski symbols, and yeah, so the easy ones are fairly flat, and then it kind of rates the elevation gain and distance and the how hard the trail conditions are, if they're narrow or whatnot. And the advanced level is for a significant amount of off trail route finding or moderate scrambling, so harder stuff that people who are new shouldn't be doing. It's just a warning that it should be for experienced hikers and scramblers only. And I also have in the hikes at a glance chart in the beginning, there is a field for kid-friendly hikes. So there are kid-friendly picks in the book.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And definitely, I love the fact that it was one of the first things I noticed as when I got the book, I started thumbing through it and looking at each of the hikes. I went, oh, he used the ski run symbols. Okay, yeah. Well, I intuitively know what those mean. So the green, what is it? Green circle, green square. I'm trying to remember.
Green circle, yeah.
Green circle, and then a blue square, and then the black diamonds. So that's like, yeah, okay, of course. That's
sounds like
that's
Lucky
like a
Charms.
breakfast cereal.
Yeah. Lucky Charms, yeah.
That'd be a good one, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anybody who's ever done downhill skiing, as soon as they see it, they're like, "Oh, okay, of course, that's what these mean." They're very cool.
Yeah. And they're commonly used for mountain biking trails now too. So it just makes sense to use them.
Very cool. So one of the hikes that caught my eye, and talking about the difficulty ratings, is one that I had done, and definitely was I think appropriately rated. Ghost Pass Lake in Manning Park. It was a very memorable adventure for me and some friends. You noted in the book that the trail disappears at times, which I would say is totally true. But that prompted me to wonder, how do you plan to keep the info on these trails relatively current and helpful?
Yeah, I mean, well, Ghost Pass Trail is an interesting one because it is, it is kind of fading from lack of usage. So I kind of wanted to put it in there to keep it going, and kind of as a challenge to experienced hikers to still do this trail and kind of maybe work on it or keep it, at least keep it in existence. So
okay.
I kind of called that one as I was going on. I was like, it's the Revenge of the Deadfall, and then it's the Return of the Deadfall, and just all these movies. But yeah, I mean, so I have a page on my website, 105hikes.com, where I'll put updates on the trails. There's already a update on there for one of the hikes, Echo Lake, and so yeah, trail conditions change, trails get rerouted and whatnot. These were descriptions were all current when I researched them and when we went to publication. But most of them are going to be still like perfectly fine. But there's always going to be the odd one that gets changed, like there's some logging happening or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So since publication, have you gone out and re-hiked the trails?
Let me think. I've done like parts of them, but I haven't gone and re-hiked any of them fully since the book came out. The book came out like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Come
okay.
on, Stephen. What are you doing? Get out there.
Well, okay. What I was really meaning to say is from the time you submitted it until it was published. But in that also, do you have a favorite destination, that you've gone back to, go, wow, this was something really memorable. I want to go see it again.
Yeah, there's definitely a few like that in the book. There's definitely, like Echo Lake I mentioned. It's just an amazing, incredible waterfall hike, and it requires boat access too. So it's a real, it becomes kind of a neat epic day. Stadley Lake as well, which has, I'm told, been affected by some logging. That one is a gorgeous lake as well. So really looking forward to revisiting those ones as soon as I can. And also they've had some trail changes too, so I'd like to check up on those.
Writing a book is not easy. And I've learned in my many years on this planet that really only the smartest and most awesome people can actually create a book, write it, and get it published. I know because I'm married to one of those people. But you, sir, have written a couple of awesome books here, and this is a different style than a Stephen King novel or a children's book or any of those things. What's the hardest part about writing this style of book?
It's really just sitting down to actually write it. I think I'll take notes on dozens of hikes, all these pictures, and then I just put off the actual writing until 2 months before deadline, and then I end up asking for an unpaid leave from work and whatnot, and it becomes a thing. But yeah, it's really just sitting down and getting started, because once I get started, I kind of get on a roll and it accelerates. But it's very slow at first. It's very hard. It's like you're just sitting down and just trying to start writing. And but in terms of the writing style, the writing style suits me. I'm a former journalist, and it's kind of the way I write is kind of, I think it's similar to how I wrote for newspapers. It's quite dense, condensed writing, and so yeah, guidebook writing is kind of like my style of writing. I like it.
Very cool. We're curious if you solicit input from readers on new areas to include for perhaps future books.
Yeah, not actively, but I kind of don't have to, because they tell me anyways. So that's always helpful. But people are always telling me about hikes or usually about hikes I know about already. But once in a while someone will mention something I don't know about. But it's it's definitely, especially. Actually, I really do like it when hiking clubs and what the people who are actually working on the trails, they do sometimes let me know what they're working on next, and before it's kind of made well known or the upgrades are done. So that's great.
Very cool. Keats had another question. I know, surprising. And it
Surprised.
was, did you run into any cool wildlife on your journeys?
Black bears. Black bears are fairly normal. I usually see at least a couple a year. Let me think. Yeah, I still have not seen any cougars.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Let me think. There's all sorts of birds, and I've seen let's see, deer and but yeah, none of the cougars or any of the super exciting stuff.
So all the usual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I don't think cougars you'll see them before they attack anyway. So
yeah, I do like running into the grouses. Usually you just hear them, and then sometimes you're lucky enough to they get scared and they fly off, or I've got a picture of one, showing its like mating display with like the orange
Oh,
patch,
yeah.
everything. That's pretty neat to see that.
Yeah, you guys up there like grouses. You named a whole mountain after him.
Yeah, we did. The thing with grouse that drive me nuts is when they don't hear me and I don't hear them until I'm like almost on top of them on the trail, and then all of a sudden they explode out of the bush beside the trail across the trail
Yes.
and give me
Yeah.
a coronary.
I was gonna say, and then you explode in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Okay.
that type.
You mentioned a lot of details, and perhaps you already covered this. Forgive me, but I missed it. Wet Coaster says, do all your hikes include parking locations?
Yeah, definitely. They all mention how to get to the parking location,
Okay.
and then where it is in relation to the trailhead.
Okay.
Another question from Wet Coaster was whether you highlight spots for great photos. And you talked about it earlier a little bit, Stephen, but you have kind of a classification system for the destinations. Did you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So for this, the quality system for this book is simplified. It's just there's the best quality hikes get a best quality star, and in 105 hikes, each hike gets a 5-star rating. So if you want to compare it, a best quality star is equivalent to a 4 or 5-star rating. And those are the hikes that are going to have the best pictures. Those are the hikes with the highest reward to effort ratio. I don't specifically mention, where the best pictures are, but I do, I describe the views. I do kind of want to leave like that a little bit for people to find out themselves.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, I as we've said already, if you haven't gone out and gone for a hike to your local independent bookstore, book retailer yet, go do that. Look for Stephen's book. It's Stephen Hui, Hui. If you're looking it up online, Destination Hikes. And we really encourage you to support him and support getting a copy of this book. It's really, really well laid out, well researched. Stephen, thank you so much for all the work you did on it. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to hiking them all.
Awesome. Oh, thanks for having me on, guys. It's fun.
Nice. You're always welcome back. You don't have to release a book when you come back, but if you have one, come on here and we'll talk about it.
Well, I do have one coming out next year, so
no.
Spoiler alert.
Busy guy. book him now.
This is a cookbook though, right? This time, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you knew me, you wouldn't say that either.
Well,
I resemble that remark.
Yeah. Hey, I know how to boil water.
There you go.
Burn water.
It's important to have those key skills, especially if you're going to be out in the backwoods.
Exactly.
Speaking of being out in the backwoods, next week, Sandra from Adventure Smart is going to be back, and she's going to talk to us about kayak and canoeing safety tips and their Paddle Smart program. So, Stephen, if you get a chance to watch that, maybe tune in for next week's show with Sandra. It'll be a good one. Oh, and we got one more question from Keats. There's more.
That's the same question I was just thinking about. So yeah, great.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, he wants to know, has Stephen found more geocaches lately?
I saw a geocache in the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve last weekend. I think it was in a like a bottle that was painted camouflage. It's kind of cool. Right. Yeah, just had a notepad in it. Nothing.
Was there a medallion in it worth $10,000?
No, there was no medallions or trinkets or other miscellaneous items.
Okay,
it was a little disappointing.
Kind of a letdown then, really.
Yeah. Well, apparently, if you go to Arkansas, they're just hanging out there in rock crevices.
Who knew,
and you're from Altoona.
Yeah.
I think that was the key part right there.
Oh, probably so. Yeah, the local Arkansas native geocachers hadn't found it, but the visitors from Altoona did.
Arkansans? Well, I don't know what you call yourself when you're from
Arcanians.
Arkansas resident.
Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I said.
Once that border opens, Stephen, looks like you've got an invite from GSM Times 2 to come to Southern California and write a book for them.
There you go.
Can I stay with you?
There you go.
Probably could. Yeah, Southern California. I was going to say, it's a lot like British Columbia. They're both in the southern parts of the country on the west. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar.
I think you covered all the similarities there. Yeah.
There's people
There you
there,
go.
and there's hiking, and there's geocaching. What else do you need?
Exactly.
Ay,
All right.
ay, ay. Hey, folks, thank you for tuning in. And Stephen, thank you for joining us. We hope all of you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
And we thank Landsharks. They are our corporate Denali level sponsor, don't you know?
And we love
Landsharks
them.
with a Z.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online, and they ship online orders daily. And Chris of the Northwest is a huge fan.
I
So
can't get
he
enough of
says.
them.
So am I.
All right. Well, we want to thank not only Landsharks, but all of our faithful Denali level supporters, which is Landsharks, as we've said, but also Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on thecachingNW.com, a website.
Like Seebeck Tribe did.
And Sprouter,
And GeoNav Pros
Be Pendragon.
just finding our way.
on a boat.
Subway Mark.
Wet Coaster,
Sege Hove.
Camp Clan.
M-Nerf,
Wino Seattle.
MC3 Cats.
Cattle Barb,
Logwork.
The Very Curious Mind of Keats 94.
Green Words,
The Geo Travelers.
You had a little vibrato in there. Nice.
mm.
LG 9000.
UDAC,
T. Sayer.
How about Peach?
Boomer 365.
Al Robrick.
GSM ×2, who may or may not let you stay at his house.
You never know. The banjo hearing Doramore,
Kid Vegas 19.
Bearwood West.
Broncos fan for life,
Kev MacD.
Ari 54321.
Genies,
Ackerdock.
How about Donners?
CRS 98,
Trexer Zero.
The good old tick magnet.
You Talks to Rocks,
3 Hams. Oh, and a Rose.
the best part,
Team Noltex.
Limax,
Antaeus.
And of course, Kitty Quest.
Kitty Quest. Stephen, thank you again. If people want to get in touch with you one more time, how would you like them to connect with you? Website, email, social media handle, bank account number, parents, street address, whatever you like.
Should I be like one of those TikTok people and list my Cash App or whatever it is?
Mhm.
No, just go to 105hikes.com and I've got my email address, the Facebook, the Twitter, WhatsApp, all on there. So just hit the website and it's there for you.
Awesome. Simple enough. 105hikes.com. And the rest of us host people can find us at cachingnw.com/hosts. And you can also find email addresses, social media handles, geocaching.com message center, interesting tidbits, all kind of stuff.
All them places is. Hey, there was a guy who on a Saturday morning football show put up, a sign, "I need beer money," along with his Venmo, and he got like $100,000 off of that one appearance there. He gave it all to charity, but
I got to
it
make
was
a
just
sign.
one of
Hang on.
those things. You gotta make-
Oh, wait. my pen ran dry. I'll have to do it another time.
Okay. Well, and make sure you're on national TV.
Yeah, all I've got is this used chapstick.
Oh,
We're really
You haven't
wasting
gone that way yet?
our nameplates. Our nameplates are really wasting that real estate right now.
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
I've got the most efficient use of letters, but who's counting?
There's that.
Oh, I just threw out all the letters I could possibly find. Okay, so folks, it's time for our newest segment. At last. Last means listeners ask some things, and now you get to answer, or we get to answer. If you would like to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback@cachingnw.com. Now, the question this week, if you could have any fictional character as your friend, who would you choose? You know what, Land Monkey? I'm going to go straight to you.
Uh-oh. I guess I should have thought about this. Any fictional character? You know what? I'm going to go with Scooby-Doo.
Ruh-roh.
As long as you have lots of snacks.
I've always got Scooby snacks, so I'm in good shape. Next.
Within, what about you?
10,000 years can give you such a crick in the neck. I'm going with the genie because
The
who
genie.
wouldn't want the genie as his friend?
Boy, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I personally was thinking of Lassie because if I ever fell in a well, Lassie would go and get me help.
This is true, yeah.
So you think only if your name's Timmy.
Well,
Oh,
You may have to
Yeah,
change your name
and-
first.
you don't know that help will come because Lassie's family will look up and go, again? No, we're done. And then you're just stuck in the well with Lassie barking.
Yeah.
now
And
I'm
you don't
really
have Scooby
questioning my
snacks.
whole choice.
How screwed are you?
Sensing a
Maybe I'll
dog
go with
theme.
Indiana Jones then. He seems to have adventures, but they don't end well. Well, eventually.
And he's completely unnecessary. You know, the Nazis still would have opened that ark and melted their faces off and, yeah, done.
That's
Movie
right.
would have ended
Without-
the same way either way.
That's right.
Mhm. Okay, Steven, it's up to you.
So
Any fictional
yeah.
character.
I'm gonna go with that flying dog in the Never-Ending Story, and now I'm gonna wait for the Never-Ending Story fans to come out with their pitchforks because it's a dragon or something. But
No.
it looks like a flying dog.
Sure looks like a dog to me,
Let's
Steve.
see, was that Falcor or was
Yeah,
that
Falcor, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Brian knows. And but he knows, so he's got that dog thing going on. Super friendly friend there for you and all that. Plus he flies, all that.
So you guys all went with man's best friend-ish theme dog type things, and I just went for the big purple, bluish. I guess I'm greedy.
Magical. Yeah. At least, Jim, you would get 3 wishes.
Yeah.
And I would wish for you guys all to have your fictional friends as your friend.
Oh.
Oh, thoughtful.
And you'll never have a better friend than him.
I said maybe. Don't hold your breath. That's true. You could put that to music.
Okay. Somebody could, but not me.
I can vouch for that.
Thank you. Here we go again. Hey, folks, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. You can call into 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us on that destination hike any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. And subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a review. Really, a review. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for...
I just barged right in there.
Yeah.
He really wants this podcast over with. I can
I'm
tell you
telling
that.
That was quicker than I remember. I thought it had a moment.
After show.
Are you ready?
Sure.
The after show.
There we go.
That was much smoother. It's always better on a live show when you can do a second take.
Yes. We'll fix
I
that
could
in
do a
post.
third. Would you like that?
Hey, just keep going, man. I got all night.
No. Not going to do it. Hey, we've got some FATAS here.
Yeah.
One for Keats, from Keats. It says, thanks for liking my Twin Lakes photo on Instagram, Stephen. I'll never forget that epic hike. I have a geocache there now.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely one of my favorite hikes from the 105 Hikes book for sure. That place is amazing. It's like another world when you get up to the top lake, and it's just, I mean, we saw an iceberg in the lower lake. That place is just
Wow.
stunning.
That's pretty cool.
The iceberg even like started calving and like flipped over while we were there.
Wow. So whereabouts approximately is that in BC?
It's like, kind of northeast of Pemberton.
Oh, okay. So up in the Whistler-esque type area. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. We've got GSM times 2. It says he's started orchestrating the Highway 1 adventure series like he did for historic Route 66. The border between Oregon and California is still open. Oh, I guess that's an invite to people who want to participate in that. Okay, very cool.
So you heard it here first, that there's going to be a new Adventure Lab series on Highway 1 that's going to connect Route 66 with
The Lincoln Highway, is it?
the Lincoln Highway. Thank you.
I really liked the way that GSM times 2 wrote it about himself in the third person. So as I started reading it, I'm like double guessing myself, like, hold on, did GSM times 2 write this? Or like who wrote this?
Apparently I'm talking quickly because I have to pee. That's what GSM times 2 says.
Okay.
Fryling wants to know how he knows. Because he's a quick show and he's wiggling around.
He wiggles around all the time.
Say, well, depends.
He's just a wiggle.
Oh, there's a secret. I always have to pee.
Makes for better podcasting.
Oh yeah, it gives you that sense of urgency, and you got to get it right the first time because you don't have time to do a double take.
Yeah.
Okay, well, IHAM got out and found their final Wonder souvenir and final Science souvenir this week. Sunday, it was an absolutely beautiful day to get out and cache.
Yes, it was.
Thank you for throwing more content in the after show IHAM so I could change topics.
Oh, we're not talking about Chris having to pee anymore?
Apparently not.
No. All right. Moving on.
It still hasn't changed the fact.
Still hasn't changed the fact. We could stop talking about it, but it's still a thing.
Thank you for finding that. Keats 94 has a brand new episode of Keats 94's Geocaching Adventure. It goes live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Calm waters and magnificent mountains. An episode of kayaking, caching, and hiking. Exploring Widgeon Creek.
There you go.
Just a nice little widgeon.
Yep.
Cool.
Are there any pigeons in Widgeon?
There
got to be pigeons.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we've exhausted everything. We're done. We've probably exhausted Steven too.
There's one more from Keats 94. It says he just spoke with Gear Guru from HQ today regarding the We Adventure Lab project in Canada.
Very nice.
Excellent. That would be the Highway 1 one. Exciting.
So
looking forward to that.
So much fun. Yep. And folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.